Persona is one of the tools commonly used in usability testing and UCD as a persona. A persona is a fictional person who acts as a representative stand-in for a large class of representative visitors to your site. Personas should be developed by observing usability tests, conducting contextual interviews working in their actual typical environment, online surveys, focus groups, and regular interviews, where you do not observe people working. Typical elements of a persona include a name and picture, demographics, age, education, ethnicity, family status, job title and major responsibilities, goals and tasks in relation to your site environment, physical, social, technological. A quote that sums up what matters most to the persona with relevance for your site. The following persona is an example from a usability test for a consumer technology comparison website. Example: Ned Adams. Ned the Nerd. Ned Adams is a thought leader for people who are interested in emerging consumer technologies. 24-year-old college dropout, studied computer science, single, not in a relationship, lives at home with his parents, clerk at the local computer game arcade and internet cafe, influencer for new gadgets among his peers, spends a lot of time on the internet, has his own consumer technology blog, always upgrades his high-tech gear to have the latest and greatest. Quote: if it's cool and new, I want to know about it. The advantages of personas in UCD are: they help everyone have a consistent view of major audience groups. They are easy to communicate. They increase empathy toward the audience and help focus on their needs. They help prioritize possible new product features based on how well they would meet the needs of a particular persona. However, personas are generally not appropriate for large-scale statistical landing page optimization tests. In this setting, personas have several significant drawbacks and limitations. Basis for construction: the proper basis for constructing personas are usability tests, contextual interviews, seeing users work in their actual native environment and not a controlled usability lab setting, focus groups, and surveys, telephone, in person, or online. Personas should always be representative of key audience classes and grounded in experiences with real people. Unfortunately, some web conversion companies have begun fabricating personas based primarily on their personality types or behavioral styles, with no reference to actual classes of visitors to a website. Without access to real people, these personas basically become window dressing around the key temperament types that I discussed in the preceding section. Difficult to understand other cultures: many website audiences are worldwide in scope and include a significant percentage of international visitors. It is difficult to emotionally connect with people from other cultures and backgrounds, and to even begin to understand their motivations. In such settings, attempting to construct international personas would be difficult, while modeling them with standard local counterparts is bound to be inaccurate. Diverse visitor populations: most consumer-oriented websites have a diverse audience. Large websites have visitors whose demographics and psychographics closely mirror the population mix of internet users as a whole. Since a given temperament or behavioral type represents only a small fraction of the overall population, any attempt to span the whole audience with a small number of personas is bound to fail. Whole segments will be missed. Of course, this is less of an issue for some niche and special purpose sites. For example, I am pretty confident that returning visitors to a bungee jumping coupon site, I'm pretty sure that such a thing must exist somewhere on the web, can be effectively modeled by a young thrill-seeking male persona. But in most cases the visitors to your website are a pretty bland mix of standard people. Competing needs: you will find that each persona has differing and conflicting needs and desires. This is not so much of an issue when one persona can be used as a stand-in for a whole visitor class, then the landing page and conversion task is designed around them. However, as discussed earlier, many websites have diverse populations, thus requiring multiple personas to effectively capture the characteristics of a single visitor class. Unfortunately, this implies compromise and suboptimal landing page designs. Instead of a consistent user experience based on a single persona, the landing page becomes a hodgepodge of features and trade-offs designed to appeal somewhat to each relevant persona. The clarity and integrity of the design is bound to be destroyed via the resulting additional clutter. In many cases, what helps one persona will actually undermine the needs of another. Addressing the wrong question: personas allow you to ask, what is best for this persona? Even if your answer to that question produced the best results possible, you would still not be addressing the needs of all visitors who do not match the persona. Since you do not know whether a particular visitor to your site is well represented by the persona, you must deal with the audience as a whole. The appropriate question then becomes, on average, which of the tested alternatives does this audience prefer? This is exactly the question that large-scale statistics-based testing can answer. At odds with the spirit of testing, personas, as often applied to landing page testing, include some hidden assumptions that users can be divided into a small number of key classes, and that if you create detailed personas you can come up with the perfect design to address their needs. The only real validation conducted is to determine if the recommended new solution is better than the original. The persona-based design may well perform better than the original, often simply because the original was so poorly designed in the first place. But why would you restrict yourself to a single design alternative? Remember, in UCD, personas are used to run a series of usability tests. It is rare that the first proposed solution is accepted as is. Unfortunately, personas are commonly used on a one-shot basis in landing page optimization to create a new landing page design. There is no iterative redesign and testing process. When practiced this way, you will get one alternative design choice that is the best educated guess of an expert or outside consultant. This is radically different than the large-scale statistical testing perspective. Statistical testing looks for the needle in a haystack and can identify which of a million possible page versions is the best performer. No human expert can guess at the answer under such circumstances and hope to consistently predict the winner. In my experience, I am often wrong about which final landing page version, or even individual test variable setting within it, will end up as the winner. This sobering and humbling realization is the reason for trying many alternatives in the first place, and antithetical to the notion that any one person can come up with the right solution. Your audience must vote through their actions on the page to guide you to the solution. Roles. Earlier in this book you identified important classes of visitors to your landing page. These can be expanded into the roles that people take on when interacting with your site. The role breakdown can be basic, or it may need to be slightly more nuanced depending on your circumstances. Here are some representative examples of possible roles. Plumbing supply company. Retail customers looking to buy an individual replacement part. Plumbing contractors need an array of parts for a specific customer job. Wholesale buyers and real estate developers need large volume price breaks and extended payment terms. Dating service. Prospective member has not signed up yet. New member has paid, but has not set up a complete personal profile. Experienced member has done multiple searches and contacted other members. Educational saving plan provider. Future recipients. Children under age 18. Parents of recipients who typically establish the plan, relatives and friends, who may contribute money to the plan. Consumer retail company. New visitors, who have not been to your site before. Returning visitors, who have been there but have not bought yet. First-time buyers trying to complete their first purchase. Repeat buyers who already have their information stored in your system. Email list members who have signed up to hear about future special offers. Inbox. Roles versus personas. Roles are different than personas. In one sense they are more changeable. A persona is usually treated as a monolithic person with a formed personality that does not change. In fact, most people play many different roles in their daily life. In each role, their competencies, mental frameworks, and attitudes can shift dramatically. For example, I may be confident, gregarious, and quick to make decisions during the workday. After work I may leave the office to buy a present for a friend's birthday party. In this setting, I may become unsure of myself, deliberate, tentative, and afraid to make the wrong decision. So even though I am the same person, and would presumably still be represented by the same persona, I behave completely differently in my roles, as businessman and shopper for a friend's birthday gift. In some other circumstances, roles are actually more stable than personas. This is often the case in landing page testing. For example, regardless of the personalities involved, all website visitors to an e-commerce catalog site still need to complete the same functional tasks as part of their role as shoppers, e.g., placing items in a shopping cart and checking out. So the role of shopper can subsume the specific personas who might be functioning in this capacity.